Okay, so welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm really excited to do this class today. We're doing self-massage for singers, and thank you, Kathryn, for hosting. So just a short bit about me. My preferred name is Nova. It is not my legal name, but it is my real name. My dad gave it to me. And my pronouns are she, her, they, them. And I am a massage therapist. I was licensed in 2005, and I specialized mostly in prenatal and postpartum. For most of the time that I had done massage, I took a long break and then relicensed recently. And recently have done a lot of work around trauma-informed body work. I'm also a somatic coach. I got licensed, well, not licensed, but certified as a life coach in 2020. And then I've done some further specific training on somatic and embodiment practices, as well as trauma-informed work. And I'm a single parent. I'm an artist. I love to do all different kinds of creative stuff. I love tea, and as it says down here, I'm a neurodivergent magician. I have 2 kids. One's almost 4 and the other is 10. So, oh, and I have someone coming in now. So welcome. Welcome, Erin. If you don't mind, we are recording this session. So just want to let you know that if you're here live and you choose to speak or show yourself on camera, you're consenting to be recorded.
That's fine.
Awesome. And then if you don't mind, if you can just stay muted unless you're asked to unmute for the time, and you can feel free to use the chat.
Okay.
And we're just getting started. So I do want to say anything that is in this class presented is a choice, and you can take or leave whatever you want. And just feel free also to collect or think of any questions. Most of the questions, there will be an opportunity at the end of the training or this class. And so we'll have an opportunity to ask questions at the end. So what we're going to go over today is what are the benefits of self-massage, and specifically benefits for singers. We're going to talk a little bit about making the massage easier. So just a real quick overview of some tools and tricks that you can use for your self-massage. Then we have 4 practices we're going to go through today. And we do have a break in between the practices, short break. This is a 90-minute class, so we will have a little bit of time in between. And then at the end, there will be a Q&A and an opportunity to learn more about my business, Terra Nova Somatic Arts, and some upcoming opportunities, both with Katie's voice studio and through my own business. All right, so just because I have to, disclaimers and contraindications. So self-massage is generally safe for most people. However, there are conditions where it may be contraindicated. So please do take care if you have any kind of health concerns. Down here, you can see the different kinds of things that you want to make sure that you are taking care about. And so if you do have any of these issues listed, please do just make sure that you're being extra careful, or you check with a health practitioner if you think that you need to be doing that. Are there any questions or concerns at this point?
No.
Okay, great. All right, so benefits of self-massage for singers. Why would you massage yourself? Well, it can relieve stress, anxiety, it can increase your body awareness, reduce muscle tension, it relieves headaches, improves relaxation, prevents injury, increases your circulation, and some of the specific things that we're going to go over today could potentially enhance your vocal performance. So it's a great way to generate more confidence and self-awareness, and especially people who have trouble connecting with their bodies. It's a great way to start experiencing safe forms of touch that help you to reconnect with your body. And of course, as we know, being in your body, connected to your body, and aware, self-aware is really important in singing and performing. So, okay, so today, so these are some massage techniques. Now, one of the primary modalities that is taught to massage therapists in the United States is Swedish massage. And there are 5 main massage techniques that are utilized in Swedish massage. So there's effleurage, petrissage, tapotement, friction, and vibration. We're going to be using effleurage and a little bit of petrissage in the types of massage we're going to do today. And then vibration, we're not necessarily doing it with our hands, but we're going to be doing some vocal vibration. And that is kind of a massage internally in your body when you're receiving those vibrations, which is really cool. There's some other massage techniques and modalities that people use. Some of these may or may not be useful to singers. We're just going to be focusing on one today, which is myofascial release. But some of these other tools might be of interest to you all going forward. Acupressure could be very helpful in certain situations. If you have really sore spots, as you're massaging, you might notice that might be what's called a trigger point. You can always stay on a sore spot for a little longer while you're doing the self-massage. And things like neuromuscular release, where we are going to be doing a little bit it's not exactly neuromuscular release. It's more, it's what's called somatic stuff. And it's a movement-based nervous system activation for muscle release. And so, yeah, those are the different, lots of different things that you can do with massage. So tools, I'm just going to pass over this really fast, but massage tools often do make self-massage in particular easier because, you know, as you can imagine, it's hard to get into certain parts of your own body. So things like tennis balls, these kinds of tools that you see in the pictures. There's, as you can see, these are really popular right now, these percussion massagers. You do have to be careful with them to not overuse them because you can bruise and injure your body because they're so rapid. They have such a rapid vibration. But these can be really helpful for anybody. I have like essential oils list kind of in here as a tool. That could be really good if you're having breathing issues like peppermint, for example. You know, if you wanted to if you're having sinus pressure, sinus issues that are getting in the way of your singing, you could use like essential oils of peppermint or whatever, eucalyptus. There we go. Eucalyptus is great. You always want to make sure that you're using a carrier oil and being very careful with the use of essential oils. So definitely, if you're going to use them, make sure that you are using the proper precautions, but it can be hugely useful to just put a little bit under your nose to open your airways. And, you know, you can do some very specific massage around your sinuses to help to release some of that stuff. Also, if you're finding that you have, for example, congestion in your ears, there's things that you can do kind of along behind the ears to help it drain. And that's when like also adding the essential oils can really help. So we're not going to do that specific thing today, but I just want to throw that out there because that's the little nugget that you can take and kind of do a little bit more research if that's you and you need those kinds of interventions. Okay, so today we're going to be doing mostly practices, which I love because that is the big focus in somatic work, is really doing practices. So we're going to be doing a practice called somatic centering. We're going to do a polyvagal humming breath. We're going to do some somatic exercises for neck and shoulder release. And we're going to do some myofascial and laryngeal release techniques as well. And we are also going to have a very brief anatomy lesson. So, Does anyone have questions so far? Anything at all? Nope. Okay, we'll just move right on. So I'm going to read through the practice first, and then we'll get up and actually do it. And before we start with the somatic centering practice, why I chose this is because this is a great practice for actually just getting into your body and being aware of what's happening in your body. So it's not massage specifically, but I wanted to kind of set things up so that we're getting the most out of the actual massage. So the more connected we are as we're doing the massage, the more effective it's going to be. This is something that you can do multiple times a day, and it doesn't have to take very long. You can do it really in just a few minutes. So I also like things that are really, really easy and don't take a lot of time. So as you can see right here, I have this little picture that I took from this really cool Instagram page that I found called Vocalology Ireland. So if you haven't checked it out, I did put a link right here. I am going to be sending this slide deck to everybody so that you will have this as a resource, and you will be able to come back and use the instructions to practice. So anyway, but this is a super cool, I have barely even dove into their page, but they have so much amazing information. And I loved this particular image because what she was, the person who has this page was demonstrating is how the larynx and the pelvic girdle kind of mirror one another in a sense, in their shape. And it's all connected, right? So what we're doing also through this centering practice is we're really bringing a lot of awareness to our center of gravity, which is kind of at that in between your belly button and the bottom of your pelvis, right? So in that pelvic area is where our center of gravity is. And if we have pelvic floor issues and tension, if we have low back even, or any of that kind of stuff, it could be affecting our voice. Because as you'll see a little bit later when we get into some of the anatomy stuff, we have this connective tissue that's running through our entire bodies and continuously. And so when we have weakness or tension in one area of our body, it's going to affect other areas of the body as the body tries to sort of balance itself out. So when we're taking care of our whole selves and our whole bodies, we are also taking care of our voice, if that's the goal. So so just, kind of having some awareness and being able to bring your awareness into different parts of your body can be really helpful when you're noticing tension up here. You might also want to kind of scan into other areas of your body and kind of bring some curiosity as to, is there tension somewhere else, and how can I be with that tension or respond to that tension in a way that helps me to release both of these areas that are connected. So, all right, everybody ready to try it? Okay, great. I'm going to take a quick sip of my tea. I'm going to stand up, and you can stand up also if you want to, but you don't have to. You can stay seated if that's more comfortable, or if that's where if you don't have space to stand up. This either way, I like standing. It helps me to get a little bit more connected to my grounded kind of feeling of groundedness in my feet. And also I'm tending to sing, right? Standing up a lot. So this is this would be a great thing to start with every time you're going to start your singing practice. Let's start with a centering. So go ahead and just get yourself comfortable. Start to notice where you are in your space. We call this orienting, so you can kind of just look around a little bit and just notice you're not, like I have you can't see it, but my office is like scarily cluttered right now. I'm going to notice that. I'm not going to judge it though. Okay. So we're just noticing, not judging. And we're just bringing our present awareness to this moment. And you're going to start to also bring your present awareness to yourself and just kind of become curious and ask yourself, how am I in this moment, in this space? How am I showing up? How am I showing up in my body right now? And as you're bringing that noticing in, you're going to start to drop your attention into your body. And I like to do this by taking a nice deep breath. And if you need to put your hands on your low, just beneath the belly button and one on the chest, I really like to do this at least my first breath or two, just to start to notice, where's my breath going? And I'm starting to invite my breath to go all the way down into that pelvic bowl area. And so you can just take a few very gentle breaths in through your nose, noticing your breath. And noticing that center of gravity. And start to notice any sensations, temperature, just your breath, any tension you might be feeling in your body. And start to notice any emotions that might be coming up. Maybe there might be stress there, there might be anxiety, joy, excitement, curiosity. And what kinds of thoughts are coming up as you notice these things? Are there stories about what you're noticing? Are there judgments? And we're just noticing, we're just being curious. We're not engaging with the stories or the thoughts or the sensations. We're kind of using that part of our brain that can be the observer. And we're just kind of seeing what's there. And now we're going to bring our attention, and you can bring your hands both now down to the center of gravity, if that helps. And what we're going to do is we're going to start to, we're kind of making more room for ourselves in the space, in our body, in the space that we're inhabiting. And we're going to do it in 3 different directions. So we're going to start in length, and then we're going to go to width, and then we're going to go to depth from back to front. So we're starting with length, and we're going to start to feel the length of our bodies and how that is moving directionally from top to bottom, bottom to top. And we can start to kind of allow ourselves to grow in that length. Just kind of imagining that you've got like a pendulum, almost like with a weight at the very bottom, keeping your feet anchored. And then we're just going to pull up, and we're going to allow a little bit of that length to increase. And we like to call this in somatic work, this is kind of how we show up in our dignity. So if you think about it, when we're feeling very confident, when we're feeling empowered in our dignity, we tend to stand taller. We tend to not be, doing this crunching, curling forward type of a thing. And also, like when we're singing, we want to be in our dignity, right? We want to have that confidence, and we want to have that length so that we can be presenting what we're doing in a nice, grounded and centered and powerful way. So we're just going to be doing that, noticing that. And you can take a nice deep breath here, standing tall in your length. And then we'll start to bring our awareness to the width in our bodies. So we can start with this width again in the center of gravity, noticing at the hip level the width of the hips. And then allowing the awareness of that width to start to travel up the body, noticing the width in the shoulders, the width in the throat, in the head, and allowing that awareness of the width to just expand. We're going to kind of expand it outside of ourselves, just like we did kind of with the length where we were increasing that length. We're just going to allow the width to grow a little bit bigger and to notice how this width is about our connection and our relatedness, how we're reaching out in width to connect with others, with the environment around us, making space for that. And as we feel that awareness, we're going to take a nice deep breath here in our width. And then we start to bring our attention to our depth. So we're going to start by feeling the back of the body. And you're just going to start to notice your back. And we're going to start to notice, bring our awareness from the back and let it travel through our body to the front. Try to hold the noticing and the awareness of both back and front and sort of in between all at the same time. So again, we can start with that center of gravity, come down into that area specifically, noticing the space, and allowing that space to just get a little bit more expansive. And we can allow that noticing to travel back up and expand in depth. And this is what we call kind of our center of purpose, or how our purpose shows up. So if you're singing, for example, you might specifically choose a purpose that's related to, you know, the song, or that's related to the why, like, why are you doing the singing? What's the purpose for that? And you can really allow for more spaciousness for that purpose to exist inside of your body in this depth direction. And then we'll take a nice deep breath in depth. And for one moment, I want you just to kind of bring all of it together. So now we're going to notice the length, the width, and the depth all at the same time. And just kind of notice, how are you feeling right now in this moment, now that we've brought some awareness to these aspects of the body? And how, you know, are you feeling bigger? Are you feeling more present? Are you feeling different? Are you noticing that some of the sensations that you started out with have shifted? What's happening for you? And go ahead and take one more nice deep breath. And we're going to return to our seats, and we'll just have a very, very quick check-in about what you experienced. So you can either in the chat or unmute yourself to share. You can tell me what you experienced if you have anything to share.
um, relaxation and maybe a little more focused concentration.
Awesome. Nice. More focused and relaxed. That's great.
I noticed even just allowing myself to take that much time to really get in tune with my body was much more time than I usually allot myself
Mhm.
when I go to sing or when I go to practice. But it was so nice to just have a moment where all I'm focusing on is me and my body. And I've spent the whole week being sick, and it was very lovely to kind of start to feel rejuvenated and feel like I could breathe again. It was great.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds good. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Me too.
Anyone else? Okay, cool. Well, that we did take some time with it because we're learning, right? So the first pass is going to take some time and I'm explaining it all. But if you take this and you practice it, it's going to get faster. You're going to take yourself through the process, and you can take yourself through this process pretty quickly. I would say probably 5 minutes is good. You could do it less than that, but slowing down is hard in our culture, right? Especially these days. So, even if you can, 5 minutes feels like a big slowdown a lot of the time. So if you can take 5 minutes to just really get into this and practice it once a day, it's really, really incredible. So so I hope that helps, and that's something that some of you will want to integrate into your practice, but also into your daily life. This is a great way anytime you're starting to find yourself dysregulated, stressed out, like you're feeling disconnected from yourself, from the moment, from why you're doing something. It's a really great way to just get back into the present moment, into your body, into yourself, and reconnect. Okay, so moving on. Now we're going to do a polyvagal humming breath. And the reason I brought this in is twofold. One, it helps us to relax. So for those of you that are not familiar with the vagus nerve, it's also known as the wandering nerve. If you think of vagus as being kind of like a vagabond, right? It's from the same root word. And so it's basically a cranial, it's the 10th cranial nerve that goes from your brain stem all the way, and it kind of wanders. It's just this really incredible nerve. It wanders through into your facial area, down through your neck. This is very, very involved in singing. In fact, singing tones the vagus nerve. So every time you're singing, you are actually nourishing this nerve, which is super cool. It's actually an intervention and a treatment for people that have trauma and stress stuck in their body. So it's awesome. So anyway, then it goes all the way down, and it goes all the way into the heart and lung area and all the way down into your guts. And so this nerve is very central in the parasympathetic side of the autonomic nervous system. So you have the autonomic nervous system that has the sympathetic and the parasympathetic sides to it. And this is involved in your basically in the safety and danger kind of mechanisms that are built into your body to help you to survive and to thrive, essentially, right? So you have the sympathetic that is involved in the fight and flight kind of, and also active, when you are being active, when you are expending energy, being productive. This is a thing that we need so that we can do those things. And then we have the parasympathetic that is known as kind of rest, digest, and it is involved in the reset the rejuvenation, the renewal, the repair, and the nourishing of your body. We tend to, in our culture, be very stuck oftentimes in that sympathetic mode. And we want to be able to more mindfully increase our opportunities to go into the parasympathetic state. And also, if we're coming at something that could be very stressful, like singing in a performance or something like that, we want some tools to be able to bring our bodies into a place where we're able to activate that parasympathetic a little bit more easily, a little bit faster, because when we are relaxed, and of course, in a case of like, if you're going to perform, some of that anxiety can actually be very motivating. So we don't necessarily want to go into like deep relaxation, right? And just like totally have the parasympathetic take over, because we want a little bit of that sympathetic, all of those like neuro transmitters and the endorphins and stuff like that to be doing their thing. But we don't want that to take over such that we are now being inhibited in our ability, right, to deliver the performance that we want to deliver. So it's kind of like a little bit of a balancing act, but this can really help to relieve some of those nerves that we might be feeling, and also just in general, also to help relax some of the fascia that's in the jaw area. And we're toning in a way with a hum. We're also kind of allowing that tone to enter into our tissues and to vibrate. So this is where I was talking about, we're kind of doing an internal self-massage by doing this. So let's jump right in and you all can try it. It's really fun. So we're going to just get comfortable. We can stay seated for this one. And just kind of remember that length from before, that width, because we want our breath to kind of be this in that length, width and depth, right? We want to be able to have that nice open breath as we're vocalizing. So we're going to kind of just reconnect with that for a moment, and we're going to start to breathe. So I will do a demonstration of this first, then you can follow along. We'll do 3 times follow along. So I'll demonstrate. We're going to breathe in through the nose, down into the belly, hold your breath while you puff out your cheeks. You're going to hum on an O sound as you breathe out while keeping those cheeks puffed. And then we're going to just do a couple of those. We'll do a little bit of a head rolls to kind of relax and stretch some of these muscles. So, excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate and then we'll follow along 3 times. Okay, good. So we'll do the head, we'll roll our heads after we do 3 breaths together. So let's start together now. So in through the nose, puffing out cheeks, humming. Second time. Third time. Okay, and now we're gonna just hang the head down gently, roll it from side to side. Also, by doing this, we're activating that nerve. And then we're going to come back to center, gently lift your head and just open up And allow your chest to be stretched out a little bit. Whew. And then we could continue doing this, but for the sake of time, we'll leave it there. Let's see, how are we doing on time? I think this is good. I think we're right where we want to be for halfway through. So we're gonna take a short break now, and I would just encourage you, let's do 10 minutes. We'll do a 10-minute break, come back. And during your 10-minute break, I'm gonna give you a little bit of homework. So, but it's not hard. It's just more of like to have some awareness. So I just want you to start to like get up, move around a little bit, shake your body out a little, maybe get a drink, use the bathroom, whatever you need to do. But just notice after doing those 2 exercises, what it feels like. How do you feel right now? Kind of bring that awareness from the beginning of the somatic centering exercise in. And also invite you to read this beautiful poem by Rupi Kaur. And I don't know if I said her name right, but anyway, it's look down at your body, whisper, there's no home like you, thank you. And so I love that. I think it's really important for us to find some gratitude for our bodies and try to be in good relationship with them, even though I know that's really hard sometimes. So just an invitation to think about that and to pay attention to how your body feels. And we'll be back and we'll go over a little bit of anatomy for vocal muscles, and we'll jump into some other self-massage stuff. All right. So let's get back at 11:40, or sorry, 11:25.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Just us.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. So I'm curious to know what you all noticed on your break. If you noticed anything different about how you were moving or how you were feeling after those exercises.
Well, I'll say that my speaking voice actually feels a lot easier. You know, like I said, I've been sick, but after doing some of the humming, it actually really helped. Just even my speaking voice feel a little bit more released. So that was great.
Awesome. Any other thoughts or anything else that?
Just a little focus. I mean, it's a little less cluttered, thought-wise.
Nice. That's great. Yeah. I can always use a little bit more focus myself. Okay,
I feel
great.
way more relaxed. Way more relaxed.
Yeah. Yes. And always, that's always so nice, right? It's anytime I can feel more relaxed. So, and I love how simple these things are, right? So you can do that breath anywhere. Well, maybe not anywhere, but like, you know, I'm a fan of normalizing self-care in public. So if you're in a situation where you really need it, just do it anyway. But you know, I think it's really powerful and it's really simple. So you can do 3 breaths, right? Or 1, and just like leave it at that. If that's all you have time for, that's all you remember, whatever. Keep it easy, keep it simple. You know, that centering practice, if you need to, break it into chunks. Just do the noticing part first. Practice that for a while. Practice noticing your center of gravity for a while. You know, I'm all about like making things easy. So, and the thing about the practices, they're practices, right? So we're practicing, just like the music, just like all of these sort of fundamental exercises that we learn in singing. It's something we just keep up and we do all of the time. And that's where the value starts to come in. And then as we do it more and more, we don't have to think through it anymore. It becomes an embodied thing, and it becomes a habit eventually if we do it enough, right? And so these are things that we can do for really building healthy habits into our lives. And it just makes our lives easier, and it eases a lot of the pain and the frustration and the tension. So also, that said, if it's really new for you and you're finding like you forget a lot, or, you know, we just have to be really easy on ourselves, because in order to like start to build new habits, we have to somehow override the old ones that are gonna like really hardwired into our minds and our bodies, that are gonna default to things that aren't as healthy or helpful. So it's a matter of just like that repetition, and then eventually it's just gonna start to feel more natural. Excuse me. Okay, so this is going to be very, very quick. We're not going to go over all of these things, but I do want to just give a sense of where things are at. This is important to know as we are doing some of this massage that we're going to be doing next, because there are things you need to make sure you are not. You need to be doing a lot of light pressure in especially the anterior throat area. Now, in my massage training, this is like a no-no zone, right? They teach the newbie massage therapists do not work in certain areas, and this is one of them, because we don't want to injure people inadvertently. So I'm going to be teaching you, you know, stuff that usually would be somewhat forbidden. And so you do need to be very careful. make sure that if you have any hint of pain or discomfort, that you're really honoring that, you're paying attention to it, and that you are not like trying to push through something, because you could really actually hurt yourself. So, and not to scare you, because if you do this right, it's not going to cause an injury. But you just need to make sure that you do understand that it's a sensitive and delicate area of your body. So we have here these different muscles that are involved in speaking and singing and that kind of thing. And you can see under the jaw, we've got some of this stuff. And a lot of these are connected to this right here, which is the hyoid bone. And the hyoid bone is the only bone, floating bone in the body. It is the only bone that is not connected to another bone. It's really interesting, but it's like that so that there's optimal flexibility. We need a lot of flexibility in this part of our body to allow air, food, and all this vibration and movement to happen up here. We do have some major arteries. So you have this internal jugular vein on either side right here. You do need to make sure if you are pressing too hard, you're going to feel a pulse. And of course, this is one of the places where we know if we've had first aid training or anything like that, where you can check for a pulse, right? So you don't want to be pressing hard enough to feel your pulse. If you do feel your pulse, please just ease off. Because you don't want to be unnecessarily putting any pressure on that vein, those veins. Okay, so some other things to note here that are really important in what we're going to be doing is the thyroid cartilage here. So we've got the hyoid bone, we've got a membrane that is between, you can see a little bit of it right there. And we've got the thyroid cartilage. So these are things we're going to be finding on ourselves, and then we're going to be accessing. So the thyroid bone or the thyroid cartilage is going to be more prominent on people with high testosterone levels and lower voices. So you will notice it's often called the Adam's apple. So it's going to be less prominent on people that don't have those, characteristics. But it's still pretty easy to find. And then we also have some really interesting muscles that I kind of wanted to point out, specifically this one, the omohyoid muscle. The omohyoid muscle connects up here to the hyoid bone, and it travels all the way down to your scapula, which is really interesting, right? So it's crossing the front of your neck and going to the back. And so when we have neck and shoulder tension, this bone is directly connected to that muscle right there. Or I mean to that hyoid. And the hyoid position has a lot to do with your vocal tone. So if your hyoid and if you're like really tight and tense up here, your vocal tone is going to change. So the more you can kind of relax and, kind of lower that hyoid bone and creating more space in this area, you're going to notice a big difference. So we are going to be doing some specific stuff to release the neck and the shoulders. And then let's see, we've got also the sternocleidomastoid muscle here. This is a double-headed muscle. So you can see right here, this is sternocleidomastoid, and you've got one here and one piece here kind of splitting off. This is the medial side of the clavicle, and then it's going into the sternum here as well. And it connects up here at the mastoid process. And so it is right behind your jaw up here, kind of at the back of just the back of the ear. You'll feel that bone, and that's where that muscle inserts. This is a big one, really big, for muscle tension, as well as the scalene muscles that are a little bit more underneath. And then we also have the trapezius muscle, which is kind of this like, it's going, you can't see it going into the back, but it goes up to the back of your head. And then it's kind of like a triangular muscle that goes all the way, wraps around over here and then up to the back. So these are really important muscles to know in terms of like your being able to really relax and be open and free in these areas when you're singing. Also, you want to make sure that your pectoral muscles are in good condition, relaxed as well, because that's going to help you to open up in the front chest area more. Okay, I think there was one more that I was going to. Now, where is it? Where are you? Then we have, okay, no, not style. Maybe it's not listed on this one. Okay, sternohyoid right here also. And then we have, and that's kind of right along this whole area. So we're gonna address that a little bit as well. All right, that's your quick anatomy lesson. Anyone have questions before we move on? No?
Well, you hit it perfectly. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
The ones that I talk about almost every day are the omohyoid and the sternocleidomastoid. So
okay,
I can't wait to see what you're going to do with those.
Yeah, this is great. I had ideas, but then I went and did some more homework. So I think I have some good stuff. So, I kind of forgot. I have a second. I have a second one. What is fascia? I forgot that I had this slide. This is really important, right? I really wanted to just go over the fascia because what we're going to be doing is some myofascial release. And I just wanted you to understand what is fascia, why are we doing this myofascial release? So myofascial release is a modality that helps to kind of stretch and realign the fascia, the connective tissue fibers. It's very, very gentle. And that's what I like about this modality. And so it's not, you're not doing like a stretch where you're like going into this thing. And this does, if you stay in like a stretch for a long period of time, you're in a passive stretch, it will start to stretch that fascia. But, just doing this, not going to do a whole lot. So we're actually going to be doing some stuff that helps to realign and open the space. And fascia is a weird kind of substance because when it's really like disorganized, it gets kind of like harder and more fibrous. But when it's really well aligned and it's flowing really nicely, it actually is almost like more like this gel-like substance. It's much more fluid-like. It's not fluid. It's hard to describe, but it's like if you think of like a puppy, I always think of a puppy running. Like when you look at a puppy and you can see how like soft, or like babies even, like how loose and well aligned, perfectly aligned all that fascia is in their body. And it just looks like this fluid motion under the skin when they're running, if you can imagine that. So basically it's made of, it's everywhere. It supports everything. It keeps everything contained and connected in your body. It's mostly made of collagen and elastin fibers. It forms a continuous web-like network throughout the body. So it's distributing forces and maintaining the structural integrity. And I like this analogy, like a sweater, it can become tight or restrictive in areas, leading to tension or discomfort. So if you imagine like a sweater or a blanket where you've pulled the thread, right? And the thread has been pulled and now you have this tense, tight area, whereas in the other part, right, it's nice and loose and there's movement. So we kind of can think of it that way, like when we have that tension, that's going to start, if you think about following that thread where it has been pulled, right, is one spot, but then that tension follows through into another area and creates less flexibility. So that's what's happening in your body when you have tight fascia. So it says a body-wide tensegrity system. So it's helping distribute tension and compressive forces in a balanced way. And that's what your body wants to do. It wants to be balanced. So what you're going to find is that if you're tight here, right, your body's going to try to rebalance that. And oftentimes it works in this like sort of crosswise pattern, so that it's going to be here and then it's going to be in your shoulder, or it's going to be here and it's going to be down in your hip. And you're going to have this kind of like pulley almost system where it's trying to even itself out. And now you have tension in two places, right? And so it's always going to be doing that. Most people, as you live your life, you're never going to go back to the way you came out with beautiful fascia. It's good. You're going to have always some of this tension happening. But there are things that you can do to release the tension, and essentially what happens is like, it's kind of like the centering that we did, right? Where we created more space for ourselves to be in our bodies and to be present in the space that we are in. It's kind of the same idea. It's like, as you release and relax this fascia, you're creating more space for yourself and for your body to do all the things that it needs to do. All right, so anyway, we can skip over that stuff, I think. Okay, so that's it. Any questions about fascia? No? One other kind of fun fact about it is that they're still trying to understand fascia and its role in the body, but there's a little bit of like recognition now that's coming to the fore about it being almost a proto-nervous system. So it is involved very much in the relay of information between the nervous system and other body, like chemical reactions in the body and all that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting. It's very, I actually have a connective tissue disorder, which causes all sorts of weird stuff. Like I have orthostatic intolerance, so I have trouble getting up and down quickly. I'll like kind of like get lightheaded and all that kind of stuff. And so it's really important. It's important. And if you have like something like what I have, it can wreak havoc on your life quite a lot. So all right, so we're going to do the next exercise, somatic exercises to release neck and shoulders. So what this is movement based. We're not, again, actually massaging, but we're using this principle called pendiculation, where we're tightening a muscle and then we're doing a controlled release of the muscle. And what that does is actually activate the nervous system to send a signal to relax and lengthen. And so this is, I like all the things that are the easiest and most effective. And so this is our preparation. We're going to do this before we get into the actual manual therapy. This is going to help to sort of prime the pump to relax everything. And then our myofascial work is going to be even more effective. So we're going to start. And again, if you want to stand, you can, or you can do these sitting. I'm going to stay here sitting. I think you can all see me fine. So we're going to just slowly, and you just go ahead and follow along as I do this. We're going to slowly lift our shoulders up to the ears, and we're going to hold, and we're just going to count. Let's do 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just start as we're doing this. I'm interrupting my counting, but that's okay. As we're doing this, we're just going to notice that tension, right? That's as we're holding. And then we're going to very, 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 very slowly drop our shoulders back down and try to do it as slowly and as smoothly as you possibly can. If you notice that there's any sometimes it'll jerk a little. If you notice that happens, just pause at that spot and then continue back. Okay, so let's do it 2 more times for the shoulders. We're going to slowly lift our shoulders and hold. And slowly, slowly, slowly relax down. Make sure to remember to breathe. Melting. I like to kind of say we're melting our muscles like it's a really hard block of ice. And then when we're releasing, it's kind of, we can just kind of imagine like ice melting. So let's do one more time. Take a nice deep breath. Shoulders to ears. Relaxing. Slowly, slowly, slowly melting. And now just kind of shake it out a little bit and notice how your shoulders feel. Okay, so next we're going to interlace our fingers together like this. We're going to place them behind the neck, just at that occiput. So that little, you know, the spot of your where your head meets your neck, essentially, we're going to put that there, kind of cup it under there. And then we're going to gently roll forward, and you're going to relax your head and your elbows down like so. Just hang here for a moment. And then you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together as you start to lift your head up. And we're doing this all very, 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 very slowly. So we're engaging, make sure you're engaging in between the shoulder blades. You want to be activating those muscles and kind of pushing in a little bit into your hands now. We're going to hold and breathe. And then we're going to slowly return again. And we'll repeat this 2 times. And we're slowly engaging, squeezing those shoulder muscles in between the shoulder blades and kind of pushing back with the head. This is working the rhomboids in between the shoulder blades and the trapezius muscle. We're relaxing that big shoulder muscle that we talked about. And we're going down. Again, one more time. And back up one more time. Hold. And this time, just go ahead and kind of go forward a little bit and then allow your arms to come down, your head to come back to neutral. Notice how you feel. And then we're not, so there's so many directions the neck can go. I think that we're just, for the sake of time, we're just going to do a side to side because that tends to be really tight for a lot of people. So we're going to go one direction. We're going to hold our neck. Okay. And just what I want you to do is like tense it just very gently in this position. We're going to tighten it just a little bit extra and just for a couple of seconds. And then we're going to slowly return to neutral. And then we're going to tip to the other side. And we're going to tighten the neck muscles just a little bit here. And then we're going to slowly, slowly, slowly let those neck muscles relax again. And we'll try again to the side. Your shoulder, kind of tighten up a little bit. And if you need to, you can kind of lift your shoulder up a little bit towards your ear too. That kind of helps to activate those muscles. So we're going to kind of lift the shoulder up, and then we're going to return very slowly. And let's just do one more time to the other side. And this time, lift your shoulder to your ear and tighten there. And then we're going to slowly relax back to neutral. And kind of shake it out a little bit, see how you feel. Are you looser? Does it feel like there's more motion in there, more room for movement? I feel a lot of cracking, cracking and popping. All right. So this is actually a principle you can apply for anything. If you know how your muscles move, you can do pendiculation on anything. If you have a tight anything, and you know which muscles, so you may or may not know this, but if you do, or if you can figure out which muscles are involved, you can do things like, say your arm is hurting, right? You can do pendiculation and use the movements of your muscles. So you know, like a bicep curl, right? That's using your bicep. Maybe you need to tighten or loosen your bicep, right? So you're just gonna go into a contraction, and you're going to tighten that contraction and hold it like you're like, yeah, look at my muscles, right? And then you're going to really, really, really slowly release it. And what's happening is that your muscle is still contracted. If you feel it, try it on yourself right now. You can, and this is a really good muscle to sense these things because it's so big, it's easy to find. You're going to feel as you very, very, very slowly release, that muscle is still contracted, right? Yeah. So it's contracting the whole way down because you're still using the muscle. And that's what makes the pendiculation work, is that eccentric and concentric contraction of muscle. So any thoughts or observations on those exercises? No?
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to figure out how to unmute myself. Yeah, wow. The neck exercises, I really noticed a huge difference. Like my whole face feels more relaxed.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So just it's a principle that you can like take that and run with it, look it up, read about it. There's great videos out there. So yeah, but I find honestly, this kind of stuff is so much more effective than what we get taught all the time is stretch, pat, and it just, unless you're really laying in a passive stretch for a really long time, or you have somebody like adding force to your stretch and doing other kinds of things, it doesn't work as well. This is working with the nervous system. Instead of trying to functionally change force the change in the tissues, you're just having the nervous system do the work for you, because the body has it all built in already. It wants to be relaxed, it wants to be lengthened, it wants to be, balanced. And so it wants to move. It's designed to move. And so as we're bringing more movement to our body, we're also, allowing it to reset itself, essentially. It's a really cool thing. I love that. There's somatics that's psychological, kind of emotional, psychotherapeutic kinds of somatics. And then there's physical, body-based somatics. And so if you're really curious about some of this stuff, Feldenkrais is a really good source. That's one very classic somatic practice. A lot of actually vocalists, singers, performers, actors, they use Feldenkrais, they use Alexander technique, as well as somatics to really balance their bodies, to be in their bodies, to be able to being really, really connected. And I did, in my early vocal music training as a kid, some of my teachers taught Alexander technique. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I was just thinking as you were explaining that one of the exercises I do with all of my clients as a vocal exercise, the slides, is a form of pendiculation. We're sliding up
Yes.
and then keeping that contraction on those tiny, tiny little muscles all the way down. So how cool. We were already doing that and we didn't even know it.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to get into the actual myofascial release. Ooh, we are going over, aren't we? Oh boy. Okay.
I'm okay with that. And if, if people want to stay, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you're
I
okay with
think
that, Nova.
I think what I'm going to do, just because I have, let's see. Okay. So yes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let's do, I want to teach you the fundamentals of this, and then you'll have this to follow along. And then if anybody needs like further instruction, you can reach out. But I think let's focus right now, because I really, really actually want you to get like what it feels like. So let's just do sternocleidomastoid right now. Then you're gonna get the basic idea of what you need to do to be able to work with these other muscles. And so on my anatomy lesson, I did not talk about the masseter or the temporalis. So just real quick, this is your main chewing muscle in the jaw. And then you have a muscle that comes and it connects to the jaw here, and it goes all the way around like this fan kind of on the side of your head. And these are involved in, they're oftentimes very tight in people that are like, there's a lot of clenching. So if you have a lot of stress, trauma, all that kind of stuff, you're probably going to be tight in the jaw. And that's going to affect your ability to relax and be able to sing. So we'll skip that today for now, but let's just kind of focus on right here. So we're going to do sternocleidomastoid. I'll show you how to find it. You just kind of turn your head to the side, and you're going to see it pop out. So you're going to see it pop out, like, you see this, you can kind of see it there, the tendons popping out, right? So it is rotating the head, the neck, right? So this one is really important. We want this to be nice and relaxed. So it's really easy. We can just find the origin point right behind the jaw there on that bone that kind of pops out. It's right under the ear. And if you move, when you move, you should be able to feel it. This is a way to check. And you can come down here also and feel on either side of your clavicle, and you will be feeling some motion there. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our pads of our fingers kind of right there at that point where it starts at the top of the neck. And we're just going to we're going to press in gently, but mostly it's downward. So we're kind of pressing in and a little bit down, but it's very, very gentle. And we're just letting gravity move. And you'll start noticing that your fingers are going to start sliding on their own. You don't have to do anything at all. And you're just allowing that. And you're going to feel a little stretch. So what we're doing is we're stretching, realigning that fascia. And by doing so, we're creating that space for the muscles to relax and to lengthen. And we're basically just giving the muscles back the space that they need by doing this. And see, you can see now where my fingers are. They've slid down. And it will depend, your fingers might not slide as quickly as others. My skin is very lax because I have that connective tissue disorder. So I have very really, really stretchy skin. If you can see, not everybody's gonna be as stretchy. So, so it may take a little longer for you to kind of work your way down. But you're just going to keep doing that, right? And you're just going to kind of make your way down very slowly, allowing that gentle stretch to happen. And then it's really nice to come in here and give at those points where it's connected to the medial clavicles. So medial is inward. And so we're just right there. You're going to feel some like bumps right here on the clavicle. You're going to have this little indentation here. That's the top of the sternum. This is where those muscles are attaching. And so we can kind of press down a little bit, and we can move in the ways that this muscle moves, and just kind of anchor that point there as we're moving. And then we're going to do also in the sternum there, and just hold and do a couple little movements. And that's just going to help to release more. Okay. And so that's basically what you're going to be doing with these other things, right? So we have scalenes and omohyoid. We went over that one. This one's a little bit more complicated, so let me just show it to you real quick. And you can follow along, but you're going to find kind of this axis here between your neck, right, and your shoulder. You're going to kind of find that like area and then come down just a little bit. There's a bit of a divot that your fingers should fall into. You want to press there, okay? And then we're going to tilt our head toward the opposite shoulder of your hand, right? So you're going to bring your ear towards this opposite shoulder, and then you're going to lift your chin up, and from here you're going to move side to side like so. That's going to help to release the tension, and you can probably feel it. You might be feeling a stretch. It's just a nice gentle back and forth. Okay, let's do the other side real quick to even out. So we're going to find that little spot. Your fingers are going to fall in. You're going to go opposite the hand, and then chin up a little bit, and we're just going to go gently back and forth. All right, and then come back to center. Ooh, I feel like my breath just got more free just from that. So, all right, I'll just go through really fast both of these other ones, but basically you're just going to kind of do the same thing with that like sliding on the jaw, and you're going to keep your jaw lax. And then we kind of bring into some of that pendiculation when we're clenching and holding. And then you're going to slowly open. But and this one, you can put more pressure. When you're doing this, you can just really press into that muscle as you're relaxing. And you're going to open your mouth. And then you're going to clench and open, kind of like that. That's going to help to release those muscles. Temporalis, basically, you're going to start at your temples, massage along, and then you're going to find your way back to your ears. You're going to come back behind the ear onto the side of the head, just kind of making little circles, and just really giving that some nice movement, trying to get some movement in there. And then once I'm gonna have to listen to it and take my glasses off. Yeah, I'm gonna take my glasses off. We're gonna make, how Spock does live long and prosper. So you're gonna make your live long and prosper hands. If you can't do this like just free standing, like I just spent a lot of time practicing this when I was a kid because I love Star Trek. But anyway, so you're gonna put it in between your ear like so. And you're just going to do some rotations, and you can rub up and down like so alongside there. You're getting the front and the back of that muscle, some nice, and then go into like some ear pulls. Ooh, it feels so good. Now this especially is going to be getting some of that fascia, pulling fascia. And this is also just really nice. Not everyone's going to like it probably, but I love ear massage. All right, so there you go. That was a little faster than I was intending, but you got it all. You can, there's a recording, so you can all come back and try it again. Okay, and now we're gonna do the sort of, I didn't know this existed until Katie told me. So I went and figured out how to do it. And I'm really glad I did, because this is super cool. So again, we have our little anatomy lesson. This shows a little bit more clearly what I was telling you before. Here's the hyoid. We've got the membrane here, the ligament that's connecting the thyroid cartilage with this hyoid bone. Here you've got this laryngeal incisor. This is kind of that little bump. That's going to be the Adam's apple. And then we have all of these different ligaments. There's a little bit of muscle there that they're showing. And then down here's the trachea. So this is like the big thing that a lot of vocal health and vocal teachers teach. There's a lot of really great YouTube videos, I will say. So, and everybody has a little bit of a different way of doing it. I picked a very simple one that I think I think it's nice in its simplicity. It's a good place to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the hyoid bone first, just so we know where things are. So you're going to it's going to be up towards the top, and you will just gently take your fingers like so, and you're going to find, if you squeeze in just very lightly, you should be able to feel a hard piece there at the top. And so that's the bone we're going for. Okay, then we're going to kind of come down, just slide down a little bit. There's an indentation in between the hyoid and the thyroid cartilage. You should be able to feel it's about a finger width from there. And then from there, it's going to be that thyroid cartilage. You should be able to feel it's a little thicker, a little wider. And then it kind of comes down, and you'll notice that it drops into a thinner area. That's your trachea. We're going to want to try to stay off. We don't need to be getting in that area. So what we're going to start is actually, remember those muscles that were under here? We're just going to do a little bit of release on those muscles by pressing our thumbs up and in against the jaw. And just all along. I like to do 3 passes. That makes things easy. And you can, I like to press in and press and hold, but if you want to do little circles, you can do that too. Making little circles. And if you want to go the full length of your jaw, you can come up and just do a couple little jaw circles. Feels good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find that hyoid bone. We're going to have our little horseshoe shaped fingers. And we're just going to move it side to side very gently. We're just kind of loosening that up. And you can see I'm not really moving very much. It's very, very small movement, right? And we're very gently holding, just like that. And then we just drop down from that. And you're going to notice that little bit of a space. And we can just do little circles in that little space. Then we're gonna bring our hands like this on either side of that thyroid cartilage. And we're just gonna move that back and forth. You might get some clicking. That's normal. I have a big click on this side. It's weird. It feels like it's catching on something. So it makes me think like my omohyoid bone is my omohyoid muscle is very tight on that side. So we're just kind of back and forth a little bit. Very gently. And then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of get into that sternohyoid muscle, and those muscles that are right along, they're under this SCM. So we're kind of in the space right in between SCM and this cartilage area. So we're going to bring back our little myofascial, and we're just going to kind of do that really nice, slow right along there. And now some of the people that I was watching, they do some vocalization during this time. So if you want to bring your humming in, your and then we're just going to do some vocalization, whatever feels good, as we kind of do a few passes along here. And there you go. There's your laryngeal massage. Now, I want to see how you all sound. So I'm going to elect you to sing like just a teeny tiny little, like a note or two, because I'm curious to see how that, I can tell right now, even though I was talking through all of that, my voice feels so much more free. It feels like everything I'm saying is just coming out with less effort. So I will volunteer Katie to share first.
Oh yeah, I love that. I think that a lot of people tend to have a compression of the thyrohyoid membrane, which you have up there, that little space that we were working on between the hyoid bone and the thyroid cartilage. Oftentimes I find that singers really compress there. So that was really nice to get in there and just really gently move through that area. And then I was singing as we were doing the little myofascial slide down step number 4. And I could feel things wanting to engage there as I was just doing some like really gentle vocal slides. So that is an interesting thing I might incorporate just to see, okay, what is moving, what feels like it needs to engage as I do that.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Can you sing just a little something so we can hear how it sounds? And then you can tell me if you think it changed how you normally feel, or are you still feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I'm stuffy and gross, but that's okay. That's perfect because that's what I need because I've been coughing. I mean, it feels, if I were to do something more challenging, like I can feel that moment when it wants to grip a little bit going up, and just maybe incorporating a little bit more of this laryngeal massage and seeing if that goes away. I'm not sure, but that's
exactly. Yeah, like good to do this stuff and then kind of test, like even before you do your self massage, sing a little bit, then do some afters, so you can kind of test for yourself the difference. Like if I mean, we don't have that before and after because I didn't do that. Maybe for next time I teach this, I will. But if I did a little, just kind of play around.
Yeah.
I'm not really trying to be like good or anything, but just feeling it,
Well, and I think that anything that helps singers kind of just start to notice, like that's how you opened this session, right? Noticing what's happening. Yes. I think that these are really great for especially singers who are starting to get comfortable using their body as an instrument, just to start to recognize what are the patterns that I have when I'm singing. where do I feel?
Yeah.
You've given us some good tools to talk about specific areas of the body, and some gentle ways that we can start to incorporate noticing and relaxation in our practice. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there you go. That is that is the pièce de résistance there you go, of the class. It is the laryngeal massage. I think this is kind of the go-to for self-massage in vocal circles, as far as I can tell. But of course, that also there's many other things that you can do to help just have good. Oh, that's the wrong slide. I don't know why that's there. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, somehow I went back to the beginning. Sorry. Let's see. I don't know how that. Okay, so there we go. And I have a surprise bonus for you all. We don't have time to do this, and I didn't plan on having time, but because I'm sending this to you all, there's a video that you can follow when you get this PDF of the slides, and you can go and learn a Do-in self-massage. It's a shiatsu self-massage sequence, and it's a full body sequence, and it's really nice because you can do it really quite quickly. About 10 minutes is about how much time it usually takes me, but you're going to get from head to feet, literally, and hands and everything. So this is another thing that you can do for your self-care, that you can do for, anytime that you need a little bit of extra relaxation and wellness in your life. So that's going to be there for you. And now we can ask questions. So if anybody has any questions or you want to share anything else, please do so. We have just a couple minutes. We did go over. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions or if you need any clarification on anything.
Not a with video now. Finally, not a question, but a just comment. It's all very new to me, so I'm just going to have to. I'll incorporate this with what Katie's teaching me, but I definitely plan to calendar time before our next lesson to work to repeat some of what I just learned. And that way, just before I show up for a lesson, because I think that the benefit of that, we maybe can move through some things quicker, or just get to another level in a shorter period of time if I'm warm. It's a warm up and a relaxation.
Absolutely.
I mean, like I say, it's new, so I've got to. I'm just going to have to try to put it into that and see what I can do with it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Nova, I love what you did. It's all so accessible too. I think, especially if we have the slide deck and this recording going through and utilizing that as a tool, and I will do my best to incorporate some of this in session too. So I think that will be great.
Oh, great. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, absolutely. Starting with some of this stuff before you practice, before you have a lesson, before you have anything big in your life that you need to do, right? That could be stressful, where you really know that you need to be in a good alignment physically. Absolutely. It's a great thing to add in. So yeah. Anything else?
Trisha, you're unmuted. Did you have something to say?
No, I think everybody else already said it. I want to start incorporating some of these things before coming to my voice lesson also. I feel way more relaxed and loose.
Well, and I found this out in my last lesson with Trisha, but Trisha is an herbalist, and I feel like you and Nova need to get together, because Trisha gave me the most lovely little care package that came at the perfect time because I got sick. And I feel like there's a great opportunity there for both of you.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I would love to connect with everyone here in whatever way works for you all. And yeah, that's great. I'm so glad that both of you were able to make it, and that Katie, of course, you were able to make it too. I am going to just real quick, we'll wrap up in just a minute, but I wanted to share a couple things coming soon. So I will be doing more classes through the studio for free for students. We're going to be doing an EFT tapping and breathwork class, as well as, and this is actually, we kind of vaguely talked about this, Katie, but
Great.
embodied meaning, how to access and express the felt sense of song and story. So that will be like that kind of the thing that we were talking about. I gave it a name.
Yes, I love it. That's perfect.
Yeah, so there will be some more coming. And then also, I am developing a group course right now. It's called Embracing the Gift of Failure. It's an embodied journey to release disappointment, find joy, and emerge into hope. It's for people who are perfectionists or feel like they're failures, for anyone who struggles with those things. It's all about how we can empower ourselves by learning how to use failure to our advantage, and by also kind of reframing some stuff. And we're doing it from a somatic perspective. So we're going to be kind of releasing a lot of stuff that's programmed into our bodies, and then putting new programming in with the magic of somatic work, kind of some of the stuff that we did today. And I'm really excited. So that should be rolling out near the end of next month. I'm still kind of working on dates, but I just wanted to share that. And then I have some other ways that you can follow me. I can put these links in the chat if you want them right now. Otherwise, they are in this. But I do have a free 30-minute session for one-to-one coaching. It's no obligation. I'm not trying to sell anything, but it's a way to just kind of like try somatic coaching and learn more about it. If you think that it could be useful, it's a lot of the kinds of stuff that we did in this class today, but it's also even more than that. There's a lot of other self-regulation tools helping to learn how to deal with stress, how to release trauma that's stored in your body, all of that kind of stuff. I have a newsletter. I do have a free Facebook group if you're on Facebook. Every Tuesday, I do more of these somatic practices for free for the people that are in my group. So you can join that, and you can see my blog and other stuff on my website. And then if you need to email or text me, that information's right here. So yeah, so that's it.
Thank you so much, Nova. This was such a treat. I'm really glad that Trisha and Erin, you were able to make it today, and I'm excited to be able to host this on the website as well. So if you want to access this recording or the slide decks, Nova, I'm sure that you will send out that info, and I will, if that's okay with you, Nova, I'll also put it on my website for a limited time. We can talk about that. And
okay, yeah,
that on there. And Nova wasn't trying to sell anything, but I'm trying to sell things for Nova. And I'm just kidding. But Nova is wonderful, and if you do have an opportunity to continue working with them, it's always a treat.
Thank you. Okay, so yes. Let's see. I need to figure out how to stop the recording. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you too. I appreciate
thank you
that.
so much.
Very new, very interesting.
Great. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you all were here, and grateful to everyone that watches this as well. And do reach out if you have any questions. All right. So I'm going to stop recording now, and you all have a great day, and we'll see you at the next one, hopefully.
Perfect. Thanks so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. Okay, yeah, so the recording, oh, it didn't stop. The recording